Hess Law. This law you will find in the subject of chemistry. More specifically, the subject, the chapter is actually Thermochemistry, or the name of the subject is Thermochemistry. There you will find this topic, Hess Law. This law is related to enthalpy. Enthalpy change during a chemical reaction. Yes, why this law is useful? First, let us discuss that point. In many chemical reactions, it is experimentally very difficult to measure the change in enthalpy, means enthalpy change during the chemical reaction. So, for those cases where it is difficult to measure the change in enthalpy, in those cases, this law is very useful. This law was discovered by Swiss-Russian chemist German Hess, and you will find this topic in the chapter of thermochemistry or in the subject of thermochemistry. Okay, so you know enthalpy. This is known to you. Say there is one chemical reaction, initial condition is known, final condition is also known. The same chemical reaction can be expressed as a summation of so many steps. So if for every step the change in enthalpy is known, then for the required chemical reaction you can easily find out the change in enthalpy. The change in enthalpy for the required chemical reaction is equal to the summation of the changes in enthalpy in the steps involved. Whatever be the number of steps, that doesn't matter. Again, if initial condition and the final conditions are same, then it is also independent of the path taken or path followed during the chemical reaction. It is means what? It is means here change in enthalpy. Enthalpy change. Enthalpy change is independent of the path followed during the chemical reaction. Yes, there is one condition. Condition is what? If initial condition and final condition are same. Anyway, you know, when you studied the concept of enthalpy in thermodynamics, or in chemistry there is one chapter dedicated for thermodynamics. There you have studied that enthalpy is a state function. And since enthalpy is a state function, so obviously it should not depend upon the path taken during the process. Here process is chemical reaction. Here in this topic of Hess Law. Okay, in this topic, process means chemical reaction, and according to the definition of enthalpy, or according to the definition of enthalpy, enthalpy is a state function. It is equal to U plus PV, where U is internal energy, P is pressure, and V is volume. If U is expressed in energy, so joule per kg means per unit mass, then volume should also be expressed as per unit mass. Okay, then unit of enthalpy will be this much energy, that is joule per unit mass, that is kg. I am talking about SI unit. Okay. So, whenever you are writing enthalpy H, if you are writing capital H, that means it is total enthalpy. It depends upon mass. And whenever you are writing small h, then in that case it is, this is normally the convention, I am talking about the convention, okay. If you are writing small h, then in that case it is energy or the enthalpy per unit mass, okay. And when you are writing in the left hand side small h, then in the right hand side also you write small v. Okay, that is volume per unit mass, means specific volume. Okay, and internal energy should also be expressed as internal energy per unit mass. So both the ways this can be written and both are useful. Okay, it depends upon the calculation. It depends upon the requirement. Anyway, I was talking about Hess law. So this law is useful for experimental purposes and for those cases where for the required chemical reaction, the change in enthalpy, the measurement of the change in enthalpy is difficult. Okay, so in those cases, Hess's law can be used. Okay, and this law is additive in nature. Okay, according to this law, the change in enthalpy is additive in nature. So if the steps are intermediate steps are known, then just by using the changes, the values of the changes in enthalpy for the intermediate steps, just by adding or subtracting. It depends upon the requirement. Okay, I am not going to give you any example. So, by adding or subtracting, you can easily find out the change in enthalpy. And it is also independent of the path followed during the chemical reaction. So, this was all about Hess's law. Okay, thank you for watching this video.